to Smartboard Basics with Gary. That's me. Today I'm going to just go over some of the basics of using a smartboard. We're not going to get too complicated here, just the basics that will get you by and let you use it in class without getting too fancy. There's a lot of fancy features here, but to just do the basic writing and typing and stuff, we're just going to do that. We'll worry about, doing special effects and transitions and all that stuff later. So let's begin here. If you have any questions, after you've seen this video, first of all, you can rewind it, replay something if you didn't get what I did. You can always rewind it to make sure you see it again. But if you have questions, if you're at school at AIS Egypt, you can email me, or you can always find me on Twitter at @GHughley, or you can also find me if you use Google, I'm on Google Plus, just plus +GHughley. So I'm kind of easy to find. All right, so if you have any questions, please email me, send something out on Twitter or whatever. So what are we going to cover? Seems like a lot, but it's just kind of the basics. We're going to cover icons. There's lots of icons up here. Lots of icons up here. And there's really just a few you really need to know right now. And one really, really big one you need to know, the undo button. Also going to learn how to add and delete pages, how to select and group text or group objects together. Typing versus writing, there is a difference. There are different kinds of pens. There's a pen icon up here, but you're going to find out there's different kinds of pens that work for different reasons. Shapes and figures. There's different kinds of shapes you can put in here, and figures and lines and all that stuff. We'll briefly talk about those, and then kind of just briefly go into what you could expect in some of the other courses. Now we're going to try to differentiate this by just going over the basics, and then we'll go over some more advanced features, but kind of a piece at a time. That way you're not spending 2 hours looking at something going, yeah, I know how to do that. So let's start with the basics here. The icons. This is the forward or the back button, forward button. So if I click on this, I'm going to go forwards to the page. This is the best button ever. This is the undo button. So if you decide you write something and you're like, whoops, I shouldn't have done that, you can hit the undo button and it will get rid of your mistakes. Or if you thought, whoops, I didn't want to undo that, I want to put it back up, you can do that with the opposite. That's some of the other ones here. This is to add a page. The pages are lined up on the left side here. These are your pages. And if you want to add a page, you can just hit the green plus. If you want to delete a page, hit the red X. Just watch when you're deleting, because you don't want to delete something you already used. Don't worry about this thing. This is to open a file, so don't worry about it. Copying and pasting, that's pretty typical. Screen capture, you may want to use that, but that's more of an advanced feature. Smart document camera, we'll worry about that later. Measurement tools, we'll worry about that later, because you really don't need to know that. Smart response tools, we don't need to worry about that now. This we do need to worry about, because this button here selects objects. So if you have a pen, that's different than selecting it. If you try to move this, you're going to get this. So if you want to do something, that button lets you select. Okay, this is not a pen, this is to grab objects. This is a shapes button. More shapes, except this is, geometric figures, This is to fill objects, so if you do a circle, you can fill it in. Different pen types. Text, doing text features, doing different kinds of lines here. And like I said, we'll go into a little bit of this, but some of these are more advanced features. If you're just using the smartboard now, you don't need to know how to make 25 lines. You just need to really know how to, do the basics or figure out where to do the basics. This is the erase button. So if you were to draw something in here, you can erase it. These buttons over here make the eraser bigger or smaller. Just go with bigger because it's easier to erase. Okay, so we just did briefly the icons. Now we're going to do the adding pages. This is real simple. You want to add a page, click the add button. If you were creating something and you go, oh, I really want to kind of have a page between 1 and 2, just click the page you want it to. If you want a page to come after 1, click here. If you want it to come after 2, click here. So if I want a page between 1 and 2, I can add a page in there. You can also click and move these pages down or rearrange the pages. So if I want these to go around, just click and move them. Okay, so adding a page, you can also click up here and insert a blank page. Or you can copy this page and say, oh, that's really good, I want another copy of that. So now you have 2 copies. And there's lots of little features here. Like I said, you can clear the page. You can do all kinds of different things. Screen shade, which is pretty good. So if you were to, let's say you're going to create a quiz. You don't want the students to know what the quiz is. You can say screen shade. And then you can pull down the screen shade as you need it. And you can go from, pull it up this way, you can go side to side, whatever you want to do. So you can do this. Sometimes you might just want to say, okay, quiz, and then have the questions written down here. So there's kind of a lot of neat little features here. Like I said, the big thing is just adding a page. Just click up here or click on the little drop-down menu here and say add, insert a blank page or clone the page, which is make an exact copy. Now, selecting and grouping. So let's say that we have quiz, and I want to do a nice little drawing here, but I want them to stay together. So if I move them, see, whoops, that should be stuck together. So what you do is just click, drag, and then go up here and say group. Now it's one object, and you can always go back in and ungroup it. So there's 2, and if you want this to go with the question mark, you just kind of click up here, drag down, and then say group. And now it's one object. And like I said, if you want to change, these are really great for if you have boxes or something. You created lots of little boxes. Let's say you created a bunch of these. And you want to have them just move together, then what you would do is just group them together. And then now they're stuck together. And you can always ungroup them to move them. Now the part that's going to really kind of get you is you're going to use the pen for something on the smartboard. So you're going to, write something down. Something really deep and philosophical maybe, like hello. And then you're going to say, oh, you know what, I want to move this. And then you're going to try to move this and go, oh, I don't want to do that. So what you do, hit the undo button, is you got to go back to the pointer to grab that text. So if you want to move something, you have to use the pointer. If you use the pen, you're going to be writing. So just, and you're going to probably do this 100 times. I still do it where I had wrote something on the board and then tried to move it or something, and it's like, oh, I got the pen, so I just got to go back and delete it and go, okay. So this is the grouping, and this is selecting. So if you want to group it, use the, like here we can say, you know what, I want to ungroup all these letters. So now all the letters are by themselves. I want to put them all together, so I'm going to group them, and then just make sure you have the pointer button, not the pen, selected. Typing versus writing. If you have a screen, click on where you want to type and type. Now the beauty of this is you can pretty much point this anywhere and start typing. So if I want to start typing up here, I can do that. But if it's not stuck, because you can always move it by clicking and dragging. So if you need to do something, you can always click and drag it to. Okay, so we got our typing. The thing is, the wonderful part of this is you can actually move the typing around. If you click on it and click on this little circle down here, you can actually make the type bigger. So if you want to make it bigger, whatever, you can just drag it and make it bigger. You can move it around, whatever. Now the writing is pretty similar. You just pick a pen and write. With my wonderful handwriting. So the writing uses the pen, typing uses the pointer. Now what you can do with this is if you click up in the right corner and drag it down to the right and click on the little down arrow here, you can actually recognize this, so it turns it into type. You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. You can ungroup it, you know, so each letter's its own letter or whatever. You can flip it upside down if you want to. I mean, there's all kinds of things. You can make it, you know, flip right to left, you know, whatever. So this is just basic stuff here. And there's lots of pen types you can choose between. There are, it's a pen. If you're using the Smartboard itself, the calligraphy pen's really nice. The crayon, I'm not really impressed with because I don't think it really looks all that great, but it's useful, I guess. Highlighter's kind of nice. The creative pen gives you different little figures you can draw. You know, you can draw little things here, draw little daisies or no smiley faces, stars, unknown flowers, whatever here. There's all kinds of different things you can draw. Little, looks like snowflakes. So there's different kinds of pens here. There's also the magic pen and the shape recognition pen. And the shape recognition pen just basically says, oh, you know, what are you trying to draw? You know, oh, you're trying to draw a circle, even though that's a bad circle, you know. Oh, you're trying to draw roughly a square. You know, so it recognizes it. Now the magic pen is something that has multiple uses. You can actually make it do this spotlighting, you can make it zoom. But one of the better uses for it is you can write, and then the ink will disappear after a little bit of time. So you can use this to like write an answer on the board. and then just have it disappear so you don't have to keep cleaning the page off. So if you have a page here, let's insert a blank page, and then so you can do stuff here, and then do something like, okay, what's 4 plus 4? And then, then when they get the answer down, you don't have to go back through and erase this. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about here is shapes and figures. These are some basic shapes. This is circle. Make sure when you do this that you're really careful where it starts, because it starts in the center. You think it might start on the corner, but it starts in the center. So if you're going to do a circle, make sure where your center is, or you're going to end up having it go kind of crazy on you. The rectangle is good because it lets you make a rectangle, which lets you do the height and width, whereas the square only lets you make a square, and those get kind of confusing sometimes when you're like, oh, I'll make a rectangle, but then you grab the square one, and it kind of causes some trouble. You can also choose, a heart. You can choose a star. There's all kinds of things you can do with this. And I went over grouping a little bit already, but this is really good because sometimes you want, like I said, you want your boxes to go together or something, or you always want 4 plus 4 to go together. So you just click in the corner, drag down. Whoops, I'm using the magic pen. Whoopsie. So you don't want to keep writing this, and you want to move the whole section. You want it to stay together. Then click, drag, click on the corner here. Either one, it doesn't matter. You can click on this one or this one. I'll click on this one. Group it. And now they stay together. Or you could also, put something like a picture in here or something. Let's say you want to insert a heart or something. And you want these to stay together. You want 4 plus 4 and the heart to stay together. Well, then group them together. And like I said, you can always click on the grouping and say, no, I want to move them apart now. So there's lots of different features here. One of the things that we'll be talking about in the next episodes are things such as dual pages, being able to see dual pages, importing and exporting files, into the Smart Notebook, getting things off the toolkit, doing things like random name generators, multiple choice questions, where multiple choice questions pop up on the board and you have to click the right answer. Spinners, if you want to make a little spinner with different numbers, different colors, different text boxes, you can do that. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. The magic pen we kind of went over. Word recognition. These are some features that are more advanced. The Smartboard, or the Smart document camera, screen capture and stuff. Those are some of the features. There's also a screen recording feature that's available. So there's actually a lot of different options. We just really went over some of the basics. Remember, if you have any questions, you can email me at school or find me on Twitter or Google+. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching. Remember, if you have questions,